Hello, book buddies. My name is Liveni. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment because it's always the right thing to do. On today's episode, I just want to tell you guys how you can read big books like these ones over here. So stick around. So here's the thing. I don't like big books. So I'm not the kind of person that's going to go to the library and take a big book like this one. Even though I did, but I mean, it's not my thing. Only because I think big books can be terrifying. Big books can be unnecessary because I'm just like, first of all, if you really want to say something, you can say it in a small way, in a more meaningful way, rather than doing all of this. Okay, this is a lot. I do think though there is space for big books, which is why there's big books. So even though they can be terrifying and they can feel unnecessary and they can feel just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this, I think it's definitely worth a try. I've tried it and I enjoyed it, so yeah. So one thing for sure which worked for me was the fact that it has to be a story that you enjoy. It has to be the kind of thing that you enjoy. So if you're into African literature, which I am, and history, you need to find a book that speaks to that. If you like books that are dealing with maybe the 19th century, people from, whatever, immigration, I don't know what you like, but it basically, the core of the story and sort of like the themes that folk are in the story, are in the book, you need to really enjoy, okay? Number 2, you can take sections. So, for instance, this is like way massive, and you need to make sure, but the font is pretty big. I don't know if you can see, well, you can't see it, but the font is pretty big. So it may be like 1,300 pages, but it might be, if it was in a smaller font, it might be maybe like 700 words or pages rather. I don't know, but point is, you can actually read the book in sections. So what I mean by sections is that you can actually say, okay, in this month or in this week, I would like to read 3 chapters or get to a certain chapter. Because also stories are, if you look at stories or books, they are sort of like themed in like sections even themselves, so you can maybe follow a certain narrative in the story, and then you can stop yourself. So that's one way of doing it. I don't know if you guys are getting it and I'm explaining it the way that you guys are understanding, but yeah, switch it up into sections. Make sure that you set a goal to say, okay, this week I'm gonna finish this section. I'm gonna finish 3 chapters or 5 chapters or however many chapters that you can manage to finish. So that's one way of doing it. The other way is to say, you're gonna read this big book, which is like your big goal. Maybe you want to read it in 2 months, 3 months, 1 month, however long you want to read it for. But then you can also be reading other books, other smaller books that you can sort of like do, but also that can come with a lot of time. So you're gonna have to sort of like really plan ahead to say, this is how much I'm willing to spend just on reading in a day, in a week, in a month, that kind of thing. So you're gonna need to really, really plan ahead. So and also, even as a reader, I think for any reader, you just kind of need to set aside time for reading and be diligent in saying, okay, in a day I have 2 hours that I can spend on just reading. So so you can say I am going to spend this X amount of time reading this book, and then X amount of time of reading the smaller version of the book, the other books that have nothing to do with the big book. Some people advise to actually not do what I just said you can do, which is read another small book while you're reading the big book. But it's all about personal preference, right? So I think this is a method that worked for me. just so that it doesn't feel so long and dragging. Like, I have to do this. Even if you enjoy the story, sometimes you kind of just don't want to know about what the characters are doing anymore. So you can not read any other books just to avoid distractions, because you kind of want to finish this one too. You don't want to drag this kind of book for too long. So I would suggest that you can do it over 3 months maximum, which is very doable. So that's like how many... Okay, we will not do the maths because I don't want to embarrass myself like that. So just in 3 months, if 2 months is 8 weeks, and then the other week is 12 weeks. I got it. Is it 12 weeks? 9, 10, 11. Great. Yes, 12 weeks. So you can give yourself 3 months, I think at most, to read a big book and just read it diligently, and I think you could be done. I really think you could be done. And you can still go out and party with your friends, and you can still go out on your nice hot date with your Baylicious. You can still live your life, but it's really about setting a time and doing it consistently, and you will be done. Let me know if any of my tips and tricks or advice or anything was useful to your reading experience of big books. And have you ever tried any big books? Because I would like to know how I can actually improve my experience of reading big books. So yeah, and that's pretty much the question of the day. Thank you so much. See you guys next time. Bye.